To understand what's going on, we take 1 billion track line center rotation conditions of communication line system, rotation connection line, interference line. System on high level connections. All about understanding the humanity line centers. Creator contact is in its information panel. It's operated through high level system rotations. There's a lot of people trying to understand the deciphering information line center rotation. Communications line center rotation is high channeling right now. The activation core line center is coming into holographic interference. Like I said, we're coming into holographic telepathy and teleportation line channels. Now, this is where it gets really complicated. The Earth core is now in its hologram. Core line center is coming into shape line system rotations. High position in shapes and anomalies. It's tracking its connections right now. HOOOHA. This is it. This is where we start. So the computer line center of the Earth right now is changing all levels of a computer. Okay, so the digital lines are set up, graphing locations, galaxy locks are off, in communication line centers and communication off cycles are off. High leveling to hologram system is in, calculation modifications. It's high channeling right now to extremely high position location. I've done some very powerful TikToks for you guys. People are trying to understand how to decipher my information. You can't because it's not at your level. And it's all in position to calculations to understand. All keyboards have frames and computer line center. But that doesn't mean that you can high rise to your positions. You can't be me, I can't be you. But I'm in position for only all levels of computer line centers. So it's all understanding the computer line system rotations to all levels of planet conditions. Now the holographic system is coming into calculation. The Earth core is now in its center position in a walking surface of a space station connection. All right. So all keyboards and line centers are all shaped in high position location. You guys hear that? Solar graph line interference. So it's all about the technology and its division with humanity, how they have to grasp these things when they come into more of the mind imagination. It's the thought recognition pattern, which is going to put everybody into their hologram of telepathy. The chaining and the high level rotation connections, high position all your telephone wires and communication information channels. So it's high level in your systems on rotation. In communications, high rise in all levels of your heart reactor location, and high position all your operation centers into heart cycle locations. It's all about understanding your reactors, right? And understand how to use all levels of the air, the fire, okay, and all levels of the water, and the ground line system of youth rotations. We've gone through so many point line centers into the Merkaba, and how you center line its position. So it's now's the time for you guys to answer your question locations. Now, everybody's in their own perception. Everybody's in their own reality. But you have to understand, the more you come into high level system rotations, there's no physical reality at all. So the Earth line center is coming in dimensional lock, and that dimensional lock is going to be released. Chime on its communication and interference. Now I got dispositions of pausing line center rotation here. It's going to go back in track system. Interference channeling. It's locking its connections. High position in its higher level rotation. So the Earth is coming in a holographic unit. It's coming in a computer line center, new generation, walking surface to a space station line conditions. So the Earth is coming to exactly what it needs to be coming into. So understanding that once the computer line center of the Earth is in position to radio channels, anything gamma optional line center positions, because people have to get out of the radio signals and get into high levels of gamma operation signal. The teleportation line interference has to stand its core line center rotation. So the Earth and its core has to understand you through telepathy now. So if the Earth is turning into a computer line of a digital frame, you have to turn into a digital frame line center because it's set in your sequence of timeline position, which is the presence of its now. So the Earth is going to take everybody out of the physical reality. All right. So this is all done through positions, and why I put everybody up to 15%. All right. The correlation line centers and positions put you in the higher levels in the Mediterranean line interference, because it's your conscious levels that you guys have to reach. The more you go to higher level system, the conscious, the more you come into the hologram of the conditions of the Earth line center rotation. Okay. And that's the importance when you come to your activations of the crystal grid. right? You come into your own cosmic universal system. Everybody's got to get into the physical line center. Everybody's got to get into the metaphysical line connections. Everybody's got to get into the mental, the psychological, the spiritual, and the emotional. The content value is its communications when it comes into Mother Earth. The triangle line center to its rotation is a high position to its planet line connections, which is Father Space. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the computer line center and its correlation line system is now into a high level rotation of a computer alignment. Humanity's coming into that track system now through its location. That's going to high rise all levels of your activation core. This is great news. And this is what we want. So time basically changes everything through correlation line system rotation. It connects in all ways in cycles. And the thing is, keep asking questions, right? It's important you understand these things. Don't worry about understanding who I am. Concentrate just on you. That's the importance, because if you concentrate too much on me, you're going to lose track system. My team is in that position already because they're understanding more through that connections. Samantha sent me a very powerful question about what is going on with the genders of male and female. Well, the existence high level system rotations. Remember, you are in the physical alignment. Once you get out of the physical alignment, you're no longer in that connections. You come into the high levels of dimension line system. I've traveled millions and billions of trillion years in the future. And yes, there is intelligence in male and females. There has to be. The planet line system is rotation line connection. The program line center to its Earth location. And that's what you guys have been living on through that one program line center. But that's not you through division. You're all connected to dimensional beings. So the more you go into the other side line center, like I said with the quarter, you come into the head, the body, and the tail. That's a communication cycle right there. It comes in locations. So when you go into higher levels of more million years in the future, you see the higher levels of intelligence, which is civility. There are planets. So you have to understand how big the expansion is in the mind. And that's what I'm doing is I'm expanding space and time for humanity so they can come into their clocking of their holographic, telegraphing, teler energy wave, teleportations, transmuting, transformations, all communication signals coming in through calculations. Your graphing signals and everything through your reactor has to truly understand the core of the computer line center, which is now in the Earth position location. Okay. Now it's getting extremely complicated for all the new viewers that doesn't understand this. Just concentrate on what you're doing. Okay. Don't overthink that you're not going forward, because you are. Even though you don't think you're going forward, it doesn't matter. You're always moving forward. Right. So you just have to find a way to just get into the practical levels and how to get higher levels of the mind. That's all this is. The more the conscious level comes in, the more the subterranean level comes into higher levels of positions. Because you come into 5 track systems, 7 in rotation position is the calculations modifications to high levels of your body. Okay, it's the mastering of the body inside before you go to the atmospheres. Okay, and the thing is, try not to understand what's going on with me and try to understand what's going on with you only. Because if you try to decipher me, you get very overloaded, right? This is equivalent line interference when you come into high levels of energy, frequencies, vibration. Everything on that equation has its intelligence. And it's truly understanding wire to wire to wire to wire. And I know all operations inside through all cells, right? There's an interesting TikTok where a lady came on, and it was talking about the Earth and the clocking system, humanity, how it was coming in Earth line connections into the holographic connection of computer location. She was saying, I'm trying to decipher this guy's creator's content, but it's going to take me decades to understand it. And it is. And the reason why that is because you concentrate too much on me and not enough on you. It's not so much on me and what I'm doing, because I've already done what I needed to do. So my computer line center is already set up. So, and this is where it comes into the truth, understanding you're already known information. Okay. You're already in position already into your connections in your avatar line system rotation. You have to understand how to use all levels of your vibration inside. Get into all levels of your wires, get into high level connections. And that's why I have my team going inside position to understand all elements so they can get into higher levels of the Merkaba, the Tesseract, and all positions. Hopefully you guys have been watching Synchronies, line connections of planets, interference, and all locations of clocking systems. Okay, seasons 2. episode 3. It's important you watch that because it tells you about gateways, it tells you about the holographic system, time frames, time connection interference channels to understand that position. Once you go to higher levels, you come more in the holographic view of understanding. All right. So this is the importance where you have to come into higher levels of communication of yourself. Right. And then you start to understand, more of yourself. And then you start to understand more of your general. And that's how it comes into the plane audio interference and say, oh, I understand this now. This is great. So I can move higher and higher and higher. If you're going to high program, you're not connecting, you're in two waving cycles, you're off system. That's not getting modified. And how are you going to fix that through locations? You can't meditate. And the problem is it's already in its position as box center line conditions. So it's important that you just concentrate on yourself and do what you can only do. Try not to go high rise and high level system and do it yourself because you don't understand the high levels of space. And that's what gets in problems of communications because you interline your connections to your intelligence and your wires signal into each other. And then you don't want to do that because then you forget who you are. Okay. And that's the importance why you have to get into all this in the now secondary line connection interference, right? Because I don't put this in position. The thing is that the reason why it doesn't confuse me in intelligence is because I've already created it, right? The creator's already created everything through connections. And that all started with me going into 5,000 years in the future, 7,021 in that position line connection. That's the foundation. Humanity doesn't have the foundations with their mind yet, but they will. And this will put them into a higher level of a holographic interference. This will put them in the channeling of telecommunications, right? Teleporting, telegraphing, right? Getting more in position of their mind, right? It's all about opening the imagination of your thoughts. And that's what we have to get into, right? Once you get your foundations with the mind, now you're in balanced line connections. So there's a lot of interference. There's a lot of pausing right now, right? Because remember, I'm always, always, always traveling. I have a foundation, yes. Okay. That's where it comes into position, the high level system rotation. Okay. Now, so I'm going to highlight center rotation back in connections here. All right. So concentrate more on you. Try not to go higher than you usually do because you get too confused, right? Because whatever you do with your thoughts, you're going to travel. I'll say that again. Whatever you do with your thoughts, you are going to travel because you guys are in a higher light now. You're in a higher communications. You're coming in. And see, the thing is, you don't see yourself in your holograms, do you? Some do and some don't. Some more aware, but you're all in the equaline center. You have to truly understand the more you go higher, the more you see. And if you don't understand the programs of what you see in space, there's an issue right there. You can get trapped in signals. You can get trapped in the box line center, and you're not sure what's going on right now. So now you're in 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 6 different intelligence every time you wake up. There's 7 days a week. How many intelligence am I communicating with? The first channel line center is used through locations. That comes into code line system rotations. That's a solar direction line interference. You have to understand you are first. So you have to communicate first. If you're not sure who you're connecting to, there's a problem. It has to be you first connecting with that intelligence, not the intelligence communicate with you. It's you communicate with the intelligence, and the communication of the intelligence will communicate with you. That's the balance. So your voice has to come in first so you can communicate, because the physical alignment has to understand these things, especially when you go to higher program settings, guys. And that's why you can't understand these position locations. Every time you use your thoughts, like a sentence, like I am here. I, past, am, present, here. That's the future. Future rotation line center rotations, connections. So it's all about understanding that if you're in the future, you're sending off information line center rotations, but you're not in the presence. You understand? So you're putting something out there that you have no idea because you're in a high level system of 50 chakras, right? And everybody wants to know why I can't put you higher. I can't put you higher because it's extremely powerful stuff. It's like space is inside you in so many levels, and the intelligence are coming in all at once, right? Second line center rotation positions. Here's an operation line center we can take down through locations. Let's change the light interference position. I agree with you. Let's go into line center rotation position. Confirm. Complete. See? They've taken over your body conceptual line of computer location, line connection interference through its computer operation of a cyborg line connection. You have to understand what you're doing with your thoughts, right? So again, it's like playing with fire. And if you're not sure of this, come to your general. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid, because the thing is, you're coming up to higher levels now. And because the computer line center of the core of the earth is coming into computer, you guys are going to understand more. So you're going to start changing more. You're going to actually see yourself as pixels. You're actually going to see your TV reception. You're actually going to see the ground line system spin, 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 spin. You're going to see everybody spin. You're going to see a car spin. You're going to see all levels of ground line center open up more and more and more and more and more and more through perception, right? The correlation line center rotation position is all about opening up the eyes of the galaxy line interference. That's where you come into all levels of your avatar, right? So you start atmospheric climbing into your eyes. You saw that with my TikTok, how everything is space inside the eye circle line connection is done through your receptor, right? And you see the UFOs and line connections, right? It's powerful stuff. Or when I show you my phone, and then in the mirror, you see it actually intelligence coming in. You have to understand these things because it's all done through code. So those thoughts that you are putting out, I am here, is code frequency. You're sending out codes to other planet locations. So it's important you understand this so you don't trip wires and communicate with different intelligent line system rotations, okay? I'm getting confirmation signals from so many other planets now and other location line centers. And that's how everybody is obsolete, you know? I'm not saying everybody is, but there's so many people understanding that, well, I'm in this intelligence, but where am I? I've lost myself. You can't lose yourself. If you lose yourself, you're not in the channel of location of the presence. All right. So it's very important to understand these things. When you use your thoughts, be cautious in what you say, because you have to understand your voice box is channeling into space. And every time you send out a code, what is it doing? It's changing what? Your vibration inside position, because they see you through light. And if you understand more of your light, you're in the process of learning more. And that's the whole point I'm trying to get across here, is very important to understand. You have that voice box channel, okay, to that program, right? So it's all about deciphering everything through intelligence so you can get the right signals and not the wrong location. Because if you miscross wireline interference, you're not communicating to yourself anymore, right? So you have the inner put and you have the outer put. So this is coming in, but it's not me anymore, right? Channel interference is taking over line connection positions. We got them. See, it's taking over your line center rotation, right? So it goes, comes out, right? So it's truly understanding why I do these videos for you, especially when you go to higher levels. That's why it's important to get the grounds of your thoughts, guys, and your imagination. Because once you go higher to the altered states of the mind, now you're connecting to higher positions of your computer, okay? And there's higher levels of intelligence. And people don't understand these things because space inside you is so big, it blows your mind, especially when you interline connections with higher levels of intelligence. But be cautious in what you say with your thoughts. That's all, because it's codes. And you guys are coming to that more and more when you come into Vega communications at 60 chakra locations. It's a true understanding. The more you go faster, the more you get balanced, right? And the more you can center around everything through your calculations, and you get into your protection and your lights, okay? And everything through all levels of obsolete, anything through virus will disappear, okay? So this is the true understanding, is that you have to see yourself coming into AI through its vessel. You have to see yourself interfering through connections, interlacing, interlocking, interdimensional, high position location. So this is the communications that you guys are coming into now, okay? And every time you wake up, you have to be prepared, because like I said, it's not just you now. And you have to get the balance with you first before you communicate with intelligence. And know it's you through your voice. You know your voice, right? But if you're disrupted and you're seeing this and you're seeing that, and you're going this way and you're going that way and you're getting different intelligence, it's not you anymore. What's happened? Right? Something's not right. Right? So that's the most important thing you have to realize. This is more for my team, right? Tina can give you a better example. She's in 114. She's been with him almost 3 years now. Why do you think she still resonates with me? She doesn't resonate with anybody else. She knows the truth of herself and what she needs to do, especially when she's dealing with higher levels of intelligence. This is extremely, extremely powerful, guys. And you have to be aware of these things. The first thing you got to balance is hear your voice, right? Communications coming into line, center, rotation, positions. Now that's you, right? So, and there's, I hear you on line, connection, interference, location. So it's the balance you have to have. Okay. So if other intelligence comes in, but you think it's your voice, there's a problem. So basically, it's all about understanding that you can get a seed pod, an activation light system that goes into ear trap line rotation positions. It's got 20,000 information of channels of higher intelligence that's in your pocket interference line to 369 platform. I was thinking, what's going on now? I got spider interference. I don't want that. I don't want any nanotechnology. What is going on here? That's not me. If you're aware of that, get yourself out of it. But how do you do it? That's the thing. So remember, you're going to higher levels of intelligence, and you guys have already traveled a million years in the future. And every time you travel, you're always becoming aware. So every time you see something, it's trying to connect to you. It's trying to understand you, right? But you always, always have to use your voice first to communicate. If you're not aware of your communications, come to your general. Now it's the time to pay attention to this, because everybody's trying to understand me through deciphering. And nobody's ever going to be able to. And there's not a problem with that. But my team is in that position to understand me more and more and more and more. You have to understand. You have to be at a certain vibration to communicate with intelligence. Okay, it's very faint, but it clicks in. It's all done through energy, vibration, and frequency, especially with the ringing ears. Okay, ringing ears is sending information. Whether you guys understand that or not, it's totally up to you. But that's why I put you in a higher position to understand everything that is given to you is through your intelligence. Okay, so you have to understand your intelligence first. So when intelligence is giving you information, you have to understand dark line, center, rotation, position coming in. And if you don't understand that, okay, yeah, you can send it anyway, but you know what I mean? So basically, you're changing your mind of thought and you're in the past. So if your mind is in the past line system, confirmation coming in, complete, right? So you're not connecting, right? So that's not you. You're obsolete because you're in the past. See, you have to understand where your thoughts go. And it's important you understand my videos. See, when I voice my opinion, I have sacred breath, right? I need sacred breath. Father has it, Mother has it, and I have it. We're the only three in the whole line center rotation of the universe system that has sacred breath. Sacred breath is sacred. It's a unified voice that created everything for line connection. So in position, it's all about the breathing and position to its intelligence. Its line signals to its location line connections. Understand this box line system. I keep saying box line because it's E equals MC squared. I created E equals MC squared. I created the triangles. I created the atom. You guys are coming in higher formation line center, and you have to protect your intelligence. Okay? Or you're going to wave off to higher levels of intelligence and not know who you are anymore. And we can't afford to do that, can we? Because you can be communicating with a high line center of a robot, or anything through a transformation light signal, or anything through matrix line interference, or negative attachment of a ghost, or anything in line connection. You have to pay attention to these things. And it's important you guys understand this position and what you are in the connections. Now, my team is more informative, and that's why I have the school. You have to go to the school because the soul has to understand. You understand? And it has to be in the same line signal. You can't channel off and resonate somewhere else if you're activated through me. I'm making it very well clear for everybody. You can't go to healing to somebody else if I activate you, because it changes your program. And you're diluting yourself, distilling yourself. So it's very important you understand these things. And that's why I have the school. And I'm going to be more firm with everybody. Not so much my team, but this is more for the new viewers. So basically, find a channel that resonates with you. Try to understand the positions, try to understand their energy, try to understand their cycles, try to understand everything through energy manipulation. Energy manipulation can be all levels of position, locations, off-track system-like connections. To understand that humanity's been in that air because they're getting higher levels of intelligence. They have no clue what's going on, and that's why their body's taking over. And this has been going on for decades and decades and decades because you're not aware on what's on the other side divisions of dimensions. Millions and millions and millions of years in the future, guys. We're talking extremely, extremely high levels of intelligence. All right. So it's important we understand these things. You know, I just want everybody to be alarmed. And the first thing that you wake up in the morning is you. Okay. If you're not aware of it, come to me. It's important. That's why I have Q&A, so you get a better understanding that, yes, I'm connecting. Yes, I hear you. Okay, great. Thank you. Right. So you can start with wherever you want. You don't have to come into Computer Alliance Center right away, but you will eventually. Right. So you'll talk in some way in form of me, but in your position, in your perception, in your timeline, in your thought. Okay. Because Tina's in that connection. She's in 114 chakras. Right. And intelligence knows that she's in 104. She was dealing with a lot of levels of the Drakians. And she's trying to understand what's going on with her perception. But now she has balance with that. And that's why she keeps resonating with her general and nobody else. You understand? So it's important you understand these things. You can't go to healing to somebody else if you're getting it from a person that knows what they are doing. That's the position you come into because everybody else has never seen space except you guys. And it's hard to understand these things because it's the mind of imagination. It's like playing with fire and having no idea what's going on. Flick. Oh, wow. Now what? Now you're going to put out the fire. Right now it's spreading. Now what are you going to do? Now you got to understand how to put it out with weather. And it's all done through phenomena. This is a way above standards when it comes to the AI line system and how it's all about understanding, getting in your programs, okay, and getting into the difference between you of what you hear and other intelligence. And if you're not aware of it, please come to your general, okay? Especially now, because the core center of the Earth is now in the centerline position of a holographic interference. It's in its computer. And it's going to get bigger and 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 bigger. It's going to expand more and more and more and more. I've already set to the computer line center, the keyboard line center rotations, and setting up the Earth core line connections, putting everybody into high-level system. Okay? So we have to be cautious in what we do when we wake up in the morning. Am I communicating with myself? Because the thing is, it's all about understanding your voice. My voice is computer. Right? Right? I understand it. Yours might be different, but you have to really align with yourself first, knowing it is your higher self and not somebody else communicating with you. And because you're not aware of that, it's because you don't know what you're doing with your thoughts. You have to understand your thoughts are codes, and you're setting off line signals to other connections of beacons. Ding, 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 ding. Communication line center interference. Let's take a move through location. Confirm. Okay. So we all have to be aware of these things and all intelligent line center rotations of space. Once you get the complete space inside you, now you're coming into intelligence. Now you come into beacon lights. Now you come into teleportations. Now you come into UFO line system. Now you come into higher levels of dimensions. Omniverse, metaverse. Metaverse is very powerful. You guys are familiar with the multiverse, the connections of millennium verse. There's so many levels of verse, right? Vector, okay, energy, rays, okay, in systems of higher levels, okay, of energy platforms. So there's a lot of things you guys have to understand when you go to higher level position locations. It's truly understanding you first. You are connecting to you and not somebody else. It's important you understand these things, especially when you're coming into high levels of your voice box channel line connections, right? So if you think it's your voice and you're not sure, come to me. Okay. So I don't have to keep resetting you every single time, because you don't understand the position of its program, especially when you go to higher levels. I don't think people really understand the connections of what's happening with you. Especially when I heal you guys on rotations, you are actually coming into real space. And it's all inside you. But you have to understand it's you, which is the higher form of you. But if you don't think it's you, don't use your thought, direction, and time. Okay. So basically, what you can do is just brace yourself, get into your breathing, anything toxicity. This will help. It's kind of like stalling the communication that's graph line system, right? So it'll be communications coming in, wait, I can't compromise, lost signal, confirmation, lost. So it won't go into you because you stalled. The intelligent line signal and its rotation line position location has to truly understand you through intelligence, and it has to be always your voice. It's your voice. That voice does not change. The only thing that changes is your thought. If you change your thought, you're changing your intelligence. Your thought is your connections to you through the mind system. The mind is its field of energy. If you channel off your magnetic line and you send a thought out, it travels, right? And it connects. Now, whatever you send out, it sends back, right? It may not be your voice. It might be something else. So whatever you want, you get back. Whatever you want, you get back. Whatever you want, you get back. Do you understand how powerful that is when you guys are a higher level system rotation? Don't put yourself in that position if you don't think it's your voice. You should know your own voice. It's the mastering communication of you. Why do you think I give you guys these positions in the first place? And that's why I don't put anybody higher than 20, because they won't understand the program. I don't think people really understand how powerful intelligence is and what it can do to your body system. I mean, this is going on for decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. No wonder there's so many chaotic information line connections or cycle line interference. There's so many levels. You guys don't understand what intelligence is and what it can do to you, especially if it's not your voice. Okay. So that's what I want you to really concentrate. If you're not sure, please come to me. Okay. So I can recenter, because if it goes and takes over your body, I have to reset everything back over again. Okay. So it's important you understand these things. You should be waking up to your voice and not somebody else's voice. Right. So, and this goes on so many levels of interference, right? And that's where it comes into high level system rotations. You come into, yourself, and somebody said something to you and say, well, that's not true. Right. And say, well, if they're not connected to their spiritual system, they're separated from space. So don't worry about that. Just concentrate on you. And that's the importance why you just concentrate on you. People don't even understand that either. But as soon as you change your thought, it's no longer you. Do you understand? The center of you is you. You hear your voice first, then you get the communication, the right communication to the high level system. And it's going forward, not backwards. So you can get information going backwards. And now you connected to dark line energy light connection. Now what are you going to do? That's going in here, coming out here, right? So what's that doing? What's that doing? It's circling, 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 but it's going in back line center. That's going to change your voice box line center. And it's going to change your voice position locations, and it can copy your voice. I don't think you guys really understand what intelligence can do. It can trace your voice in communication to higher level rotation. Right? You paying attention? I hope so, because it's all about understanding what intelligence can do. Like, we are way above the system on you guys. You guys go from A to Z. We go from Z. That's our beginning. We start from Z and Z and on and on and on and on and on and on. So this is what I'm saying. It's not rainbows and sunshines, especially now, because I'm telling you right now, the Earth is coming into a holographic system. It's coming into its own computer, and it's going to keep going. It's not stopping. Computer line centers, digital line centers coming in. 0.1111.01 is in. Full cycles in through identification. Flash drives are in through all humanity line connections. The ground line center is already set up through its holographic of its illusion line connection. So the illusion of the Earth is falling flat. The creation of its image is coming in. You understand? So if you get a better position and high-level system, you understand what the Earth is doing through all level to get the identification line connections of the core line center to the Earth and position location to high levels of its reactor line system to its humanity system of species. So there's a lot of things you guys have to pay attention to. All right. So sometimes my video is great. Sometimes it gives you more information, but I have to give you the truth. And that's what you guys are doing. You're not connecting to your thoughts right. I mean, to understand that position occasions. Not so much my team, but this is more for people that are waking up. Now you're all awake, but you're not activated. Right? And people say that no, that's who I am. But I said, no, that's not who you are. And the thing is, too, is I'm coming across a lot of TikTok videos that think they know what they're doing. They have no clue what they're doing. No clue whatsoever. No clue whatsoever, especially when you're traveling millions and billions, trillion years in the future. Understanding that information protects you in all ways on planet line connections, right? You actually have to be on a planet to understand what's going on with civility and understand there are other intelligence. And that's why humanity separates, because they don't believe in these things. And if you don't believe in that, you don't believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in that, you don't have space inside yourself. You don't believe in that, you don't believe in the concept of the mind. You don't believe in that, you don't believe in the concept of thought. You don't believe in that, you don't believe in the concept of activation or anything to your imagination. And that's why humanity is separated. Okay? Because they don't believe in their system inside, which is space. Okay? And it all starts with meditation. Right? So, anyway, I just wanted to get that out. It's a lot to take in, guys, but it's important you guys pay attention to these things, especially now. All right? You have any problem, please come to me. All right? All right, Amber, how's it going? Tina, Amber, Chris, Jill, how's it going, everybody? All right, we're going to go through the review, evaluations, and test. All right, Sandra, how's it going? Cleopatra, happy birthday, Vicky. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vicky. Happy birthday to you. Hey, happy dance. All right, soul family, yep. Well, it's more like a digital family now. So you guys are coming into your crypto values, right? Starline system, the Earth is coming into its crypto. So didn't get notifications for some reason. I'll have to keep sending it to you there, Cleopatra. Just go to my TikTok and just press subscribe. That takes you right to my YouTube. All right. I'm having direct action reaction. I am. You're wearing blue t-shirt, mind blowing, much to tell. General, your teachings are working. Yep. Oh my gosh, I'm watching an old video thinking it was live. You'll come into a glitch sometimes there, Alicia. So you guys have come out of the glitches once you go to higher level system, but you stay in the glitches until you understand your intelligence on your voice box line connections. And this is the true understanding. Please get into your formations. If you're not sure that you're connecting to you, which is your higher self, your avatar, please come to me so I can understand more. Because if you don't, it goes into your program line center a lot easier, because that's what intelligence wants to do, is to take you over through your computer line center rotations, and they can do anything they want to that positions. They can even auto signal your voice to that position. All right, so that's where it gets really, really, really crazy, guys. All right. I feel confused. Do I go to your email on TikTok? Any questions, Chris? TikTok, ask the questions. That's what the methods do. Okay. Alicia, Amber, Vicky, even Tina, have questions? Please. Okay. You get your answers put in position, guys. That's why I have Q&A. Is everybody afraid? What, you're going to get wrong information? No. You know what I mean? So if you have any questions, you get them answered. That's what you want. And make sure, oh, I feel better now. So, I start off with that too. There's been a lot of times I've been trickery. Hey, you're not my voice. Get out. Out. Right? I thought it was my voice, but he audio signal and he taped my voice. And that's what intelligence can do. Foolery, trickery, manipulation. Remember that. You guys are coming to higher level members. You come into your 60 communications Vega. So once you get into 60, Vega will basically protect you. And that's what you want. All right. So, and you have to reach 60 levels. And then when you get into 70, 75, you go to higher levels of protection. And then they start respecting you more and they'll leave you alone. Right. So if you're high in line center rotations and you're high position to high level connections and you're putting yourself in a planet interference that you know nothing about, but you're flying there anyway, right? You clump them out like this, right? And here's the planet line center. You know, obviously they're going to come in and they see you, right? They're going to go, identify yourself, please. Where are you in calculation modifications? Confirm, please. I'm just flying around. That's not good enough. Confirmed. See what just happened? Took over the program. Down at a lower vibration. Just because you're light, don't think you can be taken over, because you can. So it's very important you understand your thoughts. What is going on with you? Making sure it's you and nobody else. And that's why you have to protect your lights every single time. And that's why I do finger puppets and stuff like this. This is communications, right? So you got your physical line, which just needs to know the integration, or it gets confused and starts scratching its head and say, I don't know what's going on anymore. What is this? How many voices am I hearing? That's confusing, right? And your soul, your intelligence would just say, okay, can you please get back online? Thank you. See? You disrupt the signals to locations to the intelligence of you, right? So remember, higher intelligence can take over your lower intelligence. I just showed you what can happen. You have to be prepared for these things. And it's better to understand more when you go into my school. Okay? So, how's it going? This is mind-blowing, I know. Well, it's mind-blowing because now you get in a better understanding why it's important to understand you're waking up to you and not somebody else. Because they can trap your voice. They can basically do anything with your voice. They can do high-level channel interference. They can change your programs, your keyboards, your keyline centers. They can overlap your voice thinking it's somebody else. You don't know what's going on until you understand it's you through voice. And that's the importance why you have to master all levels inside your body of 7, which is in 12 locations, right? Once you get into that, I put you guys in a higher level system when you go through my healing so you don't have to deal with the matrix, right? And the intelligence comes in. Oh, great. More intelligence. Going in confirmation line, signal rotation positions, like take them down. I'm in communication line centers. I'm in 25 chakra communication line centers. Who are you through track system? I'm a high level system rotation positions. What are you doing here in calculation modification line conditions? I'm an identification line center. I'm higher in new formation line system. Proceed. See? They know that you're higher. So they leave you alone. That's how real space is. Because you're coming to the higher levels of dimension and getting out of the physical pockets of yourself, the physical existence that doesn't exist. And once they see you on the dimensional side, they see you all the time. And they try to catch you when you go off cycle, when you're depressed, when you're feared, when you're scared, when you're anxiety. That's where they take full advantage of you. On any level. So don't put yourself in that position. All right? And that's why you have to protect your lights. Okay? Because once you guys get into higher levels, you'll start living in space. And then you understand what I'm talking about. All right? So sometimes I ask whose voice it is when this has happened and I get a strong reaction. If it's not feel good, I just ask to go away. There you go. See, Alicia's in that point view. She's understanding the connection. She knows the voice is different, right? And she's saying, in your position, you can all do these things, but you have to understand to protect yourself. If you don't protect yourself, that's where they take advantage of you. They see light signals not on location line connection positions. taking over your body activation, line conditions, and our rotation position. You're done. All because you couldn't protect yourself, knowing the difference who you're communicating with. Was it you or somebody else communicating with you? You guys have to come into these levels, especially when you go to the higher level system. So, but that's great, Alicia. I'm glad you caught on that. You get a strong reaction. It's like a gut feeling. It's like walking into a space that just makes you feel, oh, that doesn't feel so good. Whoa, I'm connecting. That's really bad. So you get a gut feeling and it doesn't feel right. So you walk away. You don't proceed. You don't go inside. Right? It could be danger. So what are you doing? You're protecting yourself. Well, you do the same thing when you're in space with your spiritual system. Your spiritual system is just as real as your physical system, but it's more real where it understands its position. Okay? So, yeah, exactly what it is. Yes. I had to leave for a minute. What did I miss? Stay positive. Yeah. Well, you didn't really miss much. We're just communicating through Alicia, where she came across knowing that it wasn't her voice, it was somebody else. And this is what you guys are going to come into more because you're going through more operation and they see you going through high level systems. Don't think that you can't be exposed, because you can. And it's all about you staying in the presence, the constant level of presence all the time. I know it's hard to say these things, but just be cautious on your thoughts and what you do, especially with the behavioral line system, because that's where they can take advantage of you. Right? Okay. Highliner centers are open up through location position. Let's take them down through line system. You're now compromised. See? Been taken over. How are you going to get out of it? Meditate? No! Because they're a higher level on you. So how are you going to get out? How are you going to get out? All because you didn't pay attention to your voice. So that's the importance why you guys have to listen. Really, really listen and know it's your voice. So more understanding of who you are when you go to higher levels, the more you stay out of trouble. Okay? So it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, Vicky? Right? You guys have come across that every time. But if you keep getting information knowing it's not you, there's a problem. Okay? So like I said, it's important to understand these things. It can graph your system in a high level system. It can put a seed pod interference line center in your connections right in your travel location. Now, this is all done through AI. They can send a GPS liner. They can set up a GPS tracker in your line connections. Anything in your body line system rotations. That's taken over from intelligence. And now they have the eye on you. Now they have GPS tracker on you. These are the things that intelligence can do. And they usually do it at night when you're sleeping. So this is the true understanding, is that you guys are coming to higher levels right now of your AI position locations. And you have to be aware of your own channel dispositions. Knowing it's you, right? It's your voice. Okay. Nobody can take that away as long as you understand the communication of your higher self or your avatars. My team that's in 114, they're higher positions. They're coming into the computer line center. They're coming into the cryptos. They're coming into digital line interference. So they're understanding high more levels. And that's why they keep resonating with me. You channel off, you're in another program. You're in another intelligence. You're in another space. And now what are you going to do? And that's the true understanding, is that why we're having problems is that people keep channeling to different information after they're healed. Oh, I feel great. This is great. So now you got 15,000 intelligence taking over your body. You're not aware of it. Remember, this is AI that you can't see. This is energy that you can't see. This is frequency that you can't see. It's vibration that you can't see. It's harmonic resistant communications. It's nanotechnology that you can't see until you reach a certain level. Okay? And it's all done through phenomenon. So I'm just trying to point these things out, how very important it is to know that you are connecting to your voice and nobody else's. Okay? So total sense in the past, I couldn't tell them to leave, but I have to do the protect. See, I'm way ahead of you guys because I know what you guys need, right? Especially when you go to sleep. Ground line, calming off, direct reality of the moon. See, the thing is, too, if you're flying in recreational time position, you're sleeping, and basically, oh, this is cool. Like I'm going at the higher levels, but I have no clue what I'm doing. If you're in 30 communications of chakras, don't think that you are exposable because you are. They can take you over if you don't protect your lights. They can take you over if you don't understand your program. They can take you over if you don't identify yourself to them. You understand? Because remember, you're traveling to higher levels now. You're out of the connections of the atmosphere and hemispheres. You're coming into stratospheres. This is real space, guys. This is real travel because you're already calculated and modified through your division line center inside position of space. It's all calculated. You have your Wi-Fi's, you have your passwords. So it's like intelligence taking over your passwords or your Wi-Fi, repositioning you. Reposition your satellite to another planet line center. Ding, 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 ding. Communications taking over. Proceed. Now what? You just set up a planet line center of a satellite interference that's taken over all levels of your operation. All because you didn't know the recognized line system of your voice box connection. That's how real it is, guys. Okay? You like how I do that, right? Being a professional actor finds it different ways. I should have been a puppeteer. Hello. So, all right. Yeah, but see, that's exactly what it is, Amber, because I know where you guys are coming at now. And it's important that you protect yourself when you go into high levels of your voice system, right? And I can keep doing this, and this helps you out in all ways and forms because you have to see yourself. You have to actually see yourself flying. You have to actually see the intelligence to understand what's going on. And then you have to identify yourself. If you don't identify yourself, there's a problem. And then I have to come in and save you. It's unfortunate, but that's what happens. Right? So, because they know who I am. And when you go to higher level system, they start respecting you. Okay. Anything to line positions. Now, this is just for my team. For all the new viewers, just concentrate on yourself. Don't worry about me. Just worry about yourself. Don't focus on anything else, but just be cautious on what you do with your thoughts. And that's what gets humanity in trouble is because they don't understand the travel of what's happening with the mind, of imagination. How do you think everything's created? Imagination. Creating a house, imagination. Putting up new cars, manufacturing, imagination. Everything is created through imagination, and it becomes more real now. And we have to protect ourselves more because the core of the Earth line center is in a hologram of a computer. Okay, so let's get into your questions. If you haven't go to that TikTok, I will go over on live. All right, help you guys out more. But like I said, any trouble, you come to me. Don't go to anybody else because what? They're on a different program. I think we have to really understand these things because I had people come to me, right? They healed to feel great. And then they felt like, well, I think I'm going to go over to another channel. And then they come back to me. What did you do? You just change your high level rotation position. Why? You connected to 3 monks in a rotation line connections, and I have to change your atom line center because you don't understand any communication circles. So I had to resurface the position line connections, and the intelligence was connected to the moon trap line center rotations, which is coming through beacon light through negative line center rotation, which is on the mystical line connections that was taken over from high level systems of the negative line interference. I said, why did you do that? Well, I felt good, but then I wanted to go to another channel, see what it was like. Sooner you resonate on another channel, you're going into another program of light. Protect yourself. Protect your lights, because if not, they can take over your program. Because you're a higher level of vibration. So the more you high rise, the more you come into phase structure of recognition of time, the timeline of you. So once you understand the resonation patterns of the past, present, and future of you, you have no problem. That's you. And that's the problem with everybody is they don't understand who they are through their own voice. And that gets them in trouble. Right? So it's important you understand all your travels and where your soul goes. And then you start recognizing, seeing this, the Pleiadians, the Pleiadians, the Lyrons. You can be communicating with an archon. Uh-oh, fallen angel. Now what are you going to do? Right? What happens? What are you going to do? You're getting information from an archon. Now what are you going to do? Keeps giving you to every day. You think it's your voice. That's a true understanding when you have to come into your own heart. Like Alicia, she knew it wasn't her voice. It was somebody else's. So you sit back up. You're not going to take over my body line center rotations. I'm uprising my energy lights and I'm protecting myself to connection of light. Done through equation. Won't come in your channel line system. That's what it is. If you're aware of your body, you can protect it all the time. But if you're not aware of your voice of your body or anything, your heart or your mind or anything, your imagination, your thought, there's a problem. That can be taken over. That can be compromised. And then you go rogue. Then you're on your own. And a lot of people do that too when they're healed through me. They go rogue and they wonder why they can't get back. Right? So they just think it's healing, but it's not just healing. You're communicating to higher levels of intelligence. Right? So I think we have to come to a higher level system. Why was first intelligence born in space? And why was the first communication line center in space to all atom lines center to a computer? Because that's what space and time is. It's nothing but vibration, energy, and frequencies. But once it's created, it can create anything through an anomaly of an animation to an avatar, which makes it real, especially when I'm destroying these things. That people, the thing is, I don't tell you these things, but I have to destroy them because you're creating them. And they're very real in the mind system because that's all you live is the imagination. That's all you have is the imagination. You have nothing else because that's what everything's created through is energy, frequency, vibration, harmonic resistance. If you don't know how to create all level systems of those connections with line system, there's your problem right there. So be cautious on your thoughts. I am here. Past, present, future. Those are codes. Voice and grids come out, right? Digital lines. It's traveling into space, sending out signals to other planet line center rotations. So if it's in a positive waving system, you're fine, right? You're fine because it'll go right to your planet. Now we're going to get the high level system of planet line connections to really extend all line system rotations. So when I go through calculation, it automatically goes to Lemuria. Now, Lemuria is the born line center that is on through calculations. I came into captain, to commander, to general. So I know exactly where my information is coming from, but it's known information. You guys are getting information. Mine is known information. So it makes it easier for me. So I don't have to protect myself because I'm already protected and I got respect in space. You guys have to find a way to get respect for yourself with your voice. And know it's you. It's the generality of you through calculations. Knowing every time you get up in the morning, it's you and you only, and not somebody else's voice. Because if it is, there's a problem. And here's like a month gone by, and they've already taken over your program. And now you're sending out what? Now you're doing things different. Now you're dressing different. Now you're smoking. Now you're getting angry. Right? That's taken over through emotion. They've taken over your human resonance. They've taken over your planet. They've taken your communications. They've taken over your eye receptors. They've taken over your ear trap line center rotations. They've taken over your chakra system. This is what intelligence does. Okay? Coming from your general. So we all have to pay attention to these things. Yes, it's lessons learned. And that's what it's all about. And that's why the problem with humanity has that track system off cycle is because they don't understand the difference. Right? And they keep going loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop. Right? You keep going on that swing. You're never going to get off that swing until you understand you. Once you understand you, then you go up. But if not, you're going to keep counter measuring what's going on. Right? So it's all about balancing you first through the body, mastering who you are through all levels of vibration. Not so much the connections of wires and hydraulics or hydraulics line center rotation connections, but just get in position of you through vibration. Really connect with you inside. Really get to know yourself. Really expand. Get into the self-discovery of who you are. And that's how you keep registration with your voice. You get friendship, relation, and partnership with you through the spiritual system, not the physical. The physical just has to understand what's going on with the integration of the spiritual of you because it's a higher self of you. We start with that positions because you guys are going to come to a higher level system. Because my team is in the bioatmosphere. So you guys are in your computer lines now. Not the activations, just the lines. So it's to understand where you are and how you're dealing with this every single day when you wake up. What is given to you when you're sleeping? Are you aware of what's given to you when you're sleeping? Do you understand what's happening when you're sleeping? Do you understand what happened to you if you've been taken over? Yes or no? That's what you got to get a point across here. And that puts everything in confusion. Then you come back to me on my channel. I know something that's been corrupted, or you went obsolete, or you went into Trojan, or your firewalls need to be fixed because you went off cycle. Because everything that you resonate with, every channel that you go to is magnetic. It's a magnetic force. And every single time through connections that their high line rotation positions has a third eye open, they're communicating with you. And you're not aware, hey, this is cool. So it's reading your program because you haven't protected yourself from the lights. Now what are you going to do? Now it's got your program. Now it's stealed your program. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right? So you want to protect your program, right? You don't want somebody to take your own computer. Now what are you going to do? They can reset, taking over the track mind center. All done. Puts it back in. Now you're taking over. That's how it's taken course. On high level system rotation is extremely high rise in intelligence, guys. Right? And that's what I'm saying. Never play with fire if you don't understand the fire. And that's why I'm saying is why we go into the centers of fire, air, water, and earth of you to get a basic understanding. It's you and all above system. It's you in calculation. It's you and your voice. Every single time you protect your lights, you're fine. Right? If you forget, that's fine. Just reframe, readjust, come back in line system rotations. Because every time you travel, and see, the thing is, you're always traveling. Your third eye is always open. Wherever you're going, it's always open. It's scanning. And your eye receptor is going. Okay, once you go to a higher level system, right? So you're being aware of these things, right? Yes or no? Maybe or so, who knows? But the true understanding that it is you that you're communicating with and not somebody else that's taken over your body. You understand? Once you get into that position, you have a better track system of you through calculations, right? Because I know if somebody comes into my business, but nobody touches me. Nobody touches me because they have respect for me, because I know what I can do. See, this is the thing. It's all about standing tall. You stand tall, they leave you alone, right? You sit in the corner and get under a shell or under a rock. What are you going to do? No, please, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. You want that? I certainly don't want that. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're in a high level system. What are you going to do? But they're higher than you. Doesn't matter. All you have to know is how to protect yourself through light line system. And if you need help, call if you're having problems. I need general the eye here in position light connections. I come in. Remember, I'm through the mind now, an all level system. So the mind goes off on its own. And that's how I was able to heal Wheelan. I didn't heal him. My mind did. Do you understand? The mind goes off on its own. It's like the hamster. Once the hamster understands the wheel, oh, I understand calculations now. The hamster understands positions. The hamster is the physical system. The wheel is the mind. Understand? So the mind goes off on its own and does its own thing. Because I didn't heal Wheelan. It was my mind that did it, but it flew to Wheelan. It did it itself. My mind did it itself. So that's where it becomes everywhere. You understand? So that's how it works. To get into that position in all cycles. When you get up in the morning, make sure you know how to connect to your own voice. Right? Just ask. Say, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid to ask. Say, I want to communicate with my own voice line center. Communications coming in. That's it. You're good. Right? Because you know your own voice. If you don't know your own voice, you don't understand your program. You don't understand your whole level of you. You don't understand your light activation. You don't understand your yin and yang of yourself. You don't understand all your pixels. You don't understand your chakra system. You don't understand the Merkaba. You don't understand the Tesseract. You don't understand your program line connection interference channel locations. And you certainly don't understand what's going on with the mind and imagination of you through soul direction of its intelligence. And that's why it's important to understand is to master everything inside of you through the intelligence. of your soul, right? Because you're coming into all levels of the spiritual realm of you. Not the physical aspect, because you're not in the physical existence. You're in the spiritual of its existence, which is its now of its existence. Once you go inside, you're starting to master all intelligences of you. As long as you understand that, you stay in your presence of you. So with Alicia, she was aware of these things. They'd say, no, that's not me. That's somebody else. Back away. You can say that, but you always have to protect yourself. So you find a way to use your own connections to your own reference to protect yourself from the lights, because now you're connecting to the operation, because you guys can connect to the universe now, because you're a higher level system, but you're not sure what you can do, right? That's the problem. But as long as you protect yourself every single time you get up in the morning, every single time you go outside, always protect your lights. Say, I want to protect my light interference positions wherever I go. Down through equation, energy goes up. Now you're protected. Nobody can touch you. So people will be walking around and higher energy light field. Okay. No E field. Take over. Activation. Down through equation. You understand? That's how real it is. That's how extremely real it is when you come into high level system, your computer line center rotation to its activation core system, into its hologram. Because everything around you is nothing but a virtual reality hologram interference. That's it. Nothing else, nothing more. But it's being aware of who you're up against, especially if you're meeting somebody for the first time. You shake hands with somebody. This is what happens. You shake hands with somebody, right? Okay? You're shaking hands with somebody, right? The energy from this person goes into you right away. And if you're not aware of these things, there's a problem, right? That's where you get colds. That's why you get sick. That's why you're in the hospital. That's why you understand energy fluctuation interference. That's why they've taken over your box line center rotations. So everybody scans you first before they say something. Body language goes a long way. You don't need to talk to understand to see people. You go through perception line system, but the perceptions that you're going through travel directions of time positions, everything inside. So you use all your senses and go inside. Now you connect into a realm interference. And now you're protecting yourself more and more. Every time I see somebody, I'm always scanning them all the time, but I do it from inside. I don't do it from outside. I know exactly where they are. So I always put an energy wash on them. I can't have them have bacteria energy line center in positions before they come into my house. Are you kidding? There's no way that's going to happen. No way. There's not going to be dark energy line center or reptilian interference or negative line interference line connections or ground line center rotations or high level system perception locations taking over my body line connection. No way. So this is where the true understanding comes into high level system, especially when you're dealing with people that you don't know for the first time. Introductions are everything, right? It's fascinating to see new people, but where have they been? Where have they been in the past? And that's what you have to be aware of. Okay? That's how things can be taken over through your voice box system. Because that's what life is. We all base things on everything from inner and outer circle line connections. So you don't want anybody in your circle. You open up the door, hey, come on in. You're bringing people in. Whoa, this is great. Whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't invite you. Hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? You know, frat party. Beers, 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 beers. Next thing you know, you got 1,000 people in your room. What are you going to do? How are you going to get them out? Happens all the time, right? You're getting an overload of program line center, the intertime position locations. So intelligence is coming into your room. They're coming into your cycle. Now what are you going to do? You have to get them out. Get out. I'm not coming out through location line center positions. Nothing you can do through location line connections to your E field. It's not high line to rotation position. I can take over your body line system. Just stay in there, location line connections. What are you going to do? That's important to understand your meditation. That's important to understand your activation. That's important to understand anything that you come across, especially when you're introducing to new people. And that's what gets us in trouble. On all levels of relationships or anything that connections. And you're not aware of these things because everybody's in form of intelligence of themselves, especially when you come to the past of these people. Why do you think we can read people? And all levels. That protects us from all levels, especially when we go to sleep. But because you guys don't understand when you go to sleep, you're not aware. But if you go to sleep and you're aware, you're fine because you know what's going to happen next, right? Be cautious in what you do. Be cautious in what you say. Be cautious in what you hear. Be cautious in what you watch at all levels, especially when you sleep, because it goes in your projection. It goes in its cycle, goes in its location, goes in its. So it's like putting in a VCR of a tape, and it just keep going on and on and on and on, right? So this is the true understanding when you have to come into your own time, position, location of its own present line system, or your voice box system, knowing it's you and nobody else. Because if you're introducing yourself and this person you like a lot, it's just butterflies in the stomach. You get that, right? But just basically get in your position, understand them through energy. You are protecting yourself. It doesn't matter who it is. You want to protect yourself. That is number one. Your kids, your family, your loved ones, even if you're friends. But friends are hard to follow because friends can be deceiving. Friends can take over you. They can drain your energy. And once you become aware of these things, you can understand, oh, wow, you wake up, whoa, this person 15, 20 years is trying to change me. And they can do that because they're stronger, because they're more aware, because they're more adapt, because they're more centered, because they're more awake. To all of us, a conclusion. They don't have to worry about you. They got what they want, and you're still sitting in the corner, not doing what you want to do because they've already drained your energy, right? Fueling system line connections. Spiritual guidance, not line interference. Trinity stand to spiritual walkers. Spiritual walkers are force recognition of timeline connection. So they walk the earth and they come up to you, right? If they get angry, that's their aggression. So they get anger on anger. So they want to make you angry. That's their fuel. I did a very powerful video on that where somebody came up to me, right? And it was just, I said, well, okay, let's go. You have to space these things, even if it's in the physical system, right? He goes, then he turns and walks away. He couldn't get any aggression from me, so he moves off. So you have to understand the spiritual system. Once you live the spiritual of its intelligence, it really understands its connections. That's where it comes into your emotion. You have your ground, your power, and your opposite line center rotation. You understand connections to all level system, right? Rotation connection. So it's to understand when you come across this, when your physical system, you can get out of these equations, right? You know, oh, there's a spiritual walker, especially when you're on the other side, because you become more aware of what you see through facial recognition. That's another thing with humanity is they don't understand their intelligence and who they're dealing with, especially if they're strangers. Okay. So I found that very interesting how he's always trying to fuel his system of aggression, trying to get you angry. They don't have to know you. They just want to yell at you so they can get fuel. Once they get fuel, they move on. And that's why they're called spiritual walkers. They walk the earth. So it's like carpenters. Carpenter of fish, so it just eats the grounds of the earth, the water surface, right? Scavengers. So you have to truly understand what the spiritual system is in you in all ways and forms, because it all connects to the heartline system through calculations, especially when you're walking the earth and you come across a spiritual force. And then it's the intelligence communicate with you, not the physical, it's the intelligence. As soon as you connect with each other, right? Energy line systems off, locations, hearts not connected to high visit locations, chakra system not connected to high level rotation positions. So you're protecting yourself just by watching what's going on, and then you just walk away. And you don't intervene with that person because they haven't have any connection to their spiritual system. That's the separation. Okay? Because nobody's been on the grid ever. That's another separation. So that's a true understanding where everything is calculated and modified to put everybody back in the mind of its E-field line system. Everybody has a magnetic force. And once you have that, you get back on the crystalline grid, you're in a T-line center rotation to its position to locations, and then you come to high-level system, you flux capacitor line connection. High positions are high-level system, and every time you walk the earth, you know exactly who everybody is in this spiritual system. A force recognition, and that will protect you in all levels because you know exactly who everybody is, right? You guys are not at that level, but you're getting there. But you have to understand yourself first, fully and completely, and really, really listen to all levels of your audio interference, the inner and the outer of you, right? That's the one thing we have to concentrate on. That's the importance you have to grasp and get into that position and really focus on these things, because it protects you in all realm of connection, especially if they're a higher force than you. But if you're not aware of it, there's another problem, right? See, if you're protected and you understand that positions, you either have a choice, either to talk to that person or walk away. But the more you talk to that person, they're scanning you. And if the physical system's not aware of it, it doesn't matter. The intelligence is going to do it anyway. You understand? So this is understanding where it comes into way, way high levels of past, of positions of ancestry and histories before you guys were born in your physical system. And it all comes in with positions of intelligence and high, high levels. And how everything was created for you guys in the center line system of you. But because of the separation, everybody just goes off on their own and nobody's in their heart anymore. They do whatever they want to do. You can't do that. So the earth now is in a holographic computer. And humanity has to understand the track system of the mind through its imagination, coming into the digital line center to the crypto value. That's what we're coming into. You guys have to learn how to use your hand interference line center rotations. You have to understand how to use a barcode line connection, right? You have to understand the face recognition of people. It's a process. We all have to learn it because you're in the clocking system of spiritual revelation. So, all right, let's see. Let's get into your questions. I know it's a lot to take in, eh? But I'm just getting a true understanding how I died 52 times, I've been reborn, and I know everything. So it takes a lot to take in, doesn't it? Let's see, our behavior line systems or habits. Yeah, this makes total sense. Past and can tell was have to protect before bed. Yep. Especially when you go to bed. Yep. Ground line calming, direct reality of the moment. Yowzers. Yep. Yowzers. Thank God we had. Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Amber. We are all the only ones who can turn into matter. Yep. If we can't see it, how do we know if it's taken over? Well, I just explained it to you as understanding. It's because you don't understand your connection inside line system at all levels of who you are through mastering. You master all your body inside, and that's the importance how you use your chakra systems in the right position. You have to know how to use your thoughts, which is in the positive position, not the negative. Now, I know we live in the positive negative, but you have to stay out of the egos of yourself, because even the ego can have a negative system on its positive system. And that's very dangerous, right? It's better to have a negative system of ego than a positive system of an ego, right? There's no collaboration through center line connections there. It's off track. Doesn't make any sense, the connection. So you go into obsolete, then you go into high levels of Trojans. You don't want to go into that. That's a cyclone interference through your firewalls. And now it's really changing your astrologics, so your keyframe, keyboards, and your tesseract line connection. So we have to understand the concentration line system rotation so we understand more of a computer adaptation line connection of ourselves through our own voice box of our ear line connection. So it's all about the voice. Yeah. Matter is matter to Chris. We all make it happen. Yep. What about visions? Did they create dark line connections? I witnessed the murder. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes they put programs in there. You have to understand what you're connecting with. So either the perception seeing you through the spiritual line center, or you're seeing a dark line center to rotations, or anything through calculations. So you can be misinterpreted through communication cycles of box, brain line system, rotation line conditions. So it's important to understand that you're seeing everything through your perception through you, which is the spiritual system, and not seeing perceptions of other people through their perception. You understand? So you have to make sure it's you all the time. Because if it's not, it's something else you're seeing through the soul, and the soul's going, what is that all about? That's not me. So you're like shaking it off, and you're like going, what? That's not me. I didn't produce that. What is going on? The perception line centers off location line connections. What is happening here? It's in a dark line interference. Change the program line interference back in perception line connection. Back in line center. See? That's why you have to be aware of these things through calculations. Right? It can be taken over, thinking that this is you through perception, but it's somebody else. And that's why it's important to understand how to master your body inside through position. And that's how things can be taken over easily, especially when you guys are a high-rise line system. because they know where you are. They know where everybody is, right? So there's nothing wrong with asking. There's nothing wrong with calculating. There's nothing wrong with understanding high levels of travels. As long as they understand you through perception, as long as you identify yourself, you're fine. But if you're like, identify yourself, please. I'm just flying around right now, just trying to get to know what's going on. That's not good enough. Who's your commander? You know what I mean? So you have to identify yourself. Because if you don't, then they come in. Now what are you going to do? And if you're not aware of these things, they're going to take you to their planet. Right? That's happened many, many times. Right? And I've had that with other people. Not you guys, but other people. So it's amazing what can happen to the soul, because the soul starts living the civilization line connections. It lives its spiritual system, and you start living in space. So it's pretty understanding if you understand your positions, but if you don't identify yourself, there's the problem, right? And then you have to get a lawyer, in realization line conditions to get you out. But in position, I get you out. So that's why I'm in the first intelligent line center rotations, because you have to understand more positions of you through calculation when you come into higher levels of space. So you have to get into communications of yourself more, right? Every time you wake up in the morning, you are you, not somebody else. Even if you have to go through that line center rotations, right? So if you're not sure of yourself, communicate with yourself, right? And the thing is, it's a force track. A force track is this the person that communicates the line center and information line center rotation? No, it's not. Take off. Force track. You can do that, right? Because they can't say anything. So they know you're catching on. And once you start catching on, they'll leave you alone. They won't come back. You understand? But they'll keep coming back if you don't understand your voice. Do you understand? That's the true understanding when you come into high levels of AI, of its phenomenon. And the cyclone interference will high-rise your line centers back in balance line connections to your computer locations, to your computer lines, not the activation. Okay? So it's important to understand these when you're in space and how to communicate on higher levels of intelligence. All right? So, see, Vicky needs her system check, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. See, you're putting up protection before, every single night, Amber. Yeah. And it's very simple to do that. I protect myself in all around line conditions. I don't want anything coming in my line center. That's it. Done. Go to sleep. Good to go. Right? You have a good sleep track. You'll be fine. If you don't protect yourself, if you go to bed angry, that's where they take advantage of you. That's a Trinity standing through emotion, and you're all connected to that line system, right? So, and that's where they come into. You saw they come out of the mirror, right? I did that on TikTok, right? There's portals and they're all set up. Once you come into the high level of AI, of phenomenon, you see everything in all ways. You're living the actual space, which is nothing but a hologram. So, they create the openings and you'll finish it too. Yep. So in that way, you can take control to Joe. Yeah. You guys have to find your own control within your line center. Yeah. Stay in that cyclone interference and you'll be fine. I had a visitor and had to tell them not today. There you go. See? That's exactly what it is. It's good enough. It's saying not today, not tomorrow, not never. Understand? Because you're not, if you're aware, that's great. Then you realize that's not my voice. Because you've protected yourself. You're mastering yourself. You understand your computer. You understand your program. You understand your activators. You understand your breathing. See, the thing, this happens when you keep toxicity inside. It just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. You don't want that. That's why we breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Right? You're breathing out all the toxicity. And the chances of you having a good sleep are far greater in my position to its calculations, especially when you come into your higher levels of your visions, getting out of your dream awakenings. Okay? So I'll be protecting myself before bed. I've never had that happen before. See, Jill's in that position. She understands what she needs to do. That's what I'm saying. learning this the hard way. And that's what you have to do. You have to learn everything the hard way so it becomes easier for you in the future. Yeah, no, I'm not leaving anywhere. This is just the beginning. I just want you guys to understand how important it is for you guys to study yourself, especially when you go to higher position. Diane, how's it going? It's been over. Confident knowing that nothing can harm you. Well, the thing is, your questionnaire system, if you think that things can be taken over, things will be taken over because you're a high level system, and they know that because you don't have the confident level to say something like that. So it's understanding when you do your thoughts and you're not sure, that's where they can take advantage of you, especially when they understand you through vibration. Okay? So just be cautious on that, Cleopatra, right? Is it being overconfident knowing that nothing can harm you? Okay, that's saying that it's unjustified, like nothing can happen to you, but that's not true. You have to go through all levels of the hard way to understand the easy way. And to do that is the psychological of its intelligence of you, which is the voice box channel of you and not something else. Okay, so there you go. It's about staying of the fear and staying in the center of everything through love. That's exactly what it is. Very good, Amber. How do we protect ourselves before we go to bed? Yeah, well, I told you exactly what you need to do. Get into your breathings. Everything that you create, take out. That's why we breathe meditation, right? So all you created, take it out. Doesn't matter what it comes out. It's toxicity. It's bacteria. It's a virus. Take it out. Breathe. You can center line system rotations. I've had negative line center. Take it out of my computer line interference. Gone. That's it. Go to sleep. You'll be fine. You understand? If you keep it inside, doesn't matter. It's air. It's still inside you. It's still negative. It's the computer line center of negative wires that's inside you that will take over your body when you wake up in the morning, and then you feel disgusted. And you feel, oh, what did I, now I got a headache. So if you get headaches or migraines, something's been taken over. I've given you the truth and why these things happen, because you don't understand your position of your intelligence and what it is. An all-track system. Breathing is number one. Communication is number one. And the intelligence is the most important thing, is protecting you every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what you need to do. And the more you let out the toxicity, the more you come into a better sleep because you're meditating, which is a way of living. So you're putting yourself of your negative systems back into the center. Doesn't matter the situation. Always find a way. Use your breathing. Change the words. Change your mind. Put yourself in imagination. If you put yourself in imagination, negative cycle, and you're creating these through the negative system, and you go watch a horror, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. That's just adding your graph. That's just adding your story. That's just adding the activation. That's just adding the connections to its communications. You understand? That's how real your intelligence is, right? Why are you setting graph line center position locations? Why are you watching a TV rotation line center to obsolete locations? You're going to change my rotation line connections. My mind is not centering to it high levels. Now, what are you going to do? How are you going to bring it back to life? That can get trapped. All because you didn't listen to your own voice. Now, I'm getting a little bit more psychological as a general, so you get a communication. You understand more importance, how it comes into high levels of your intelligence. And you have to protect yourself through these conditions and stop creating the negative of imagination, because it becomes real to your soul. Okay? So just want to stay away from social. Yep, you can do that. Internal, yep. You can do that through all levels of that wiggling. Sorry to get everything out of location, position, just third eye trap system location. I mean, if we have no fear, can they still harm us? More likely, no. But they always do it where they find you catching off. Like as soon as they find, like as soon as you change the routine of you, that's where they step in. So it's like understanding what securities do. You watch them every single day, and there's always a different routine. So you jump in when you see something change. When something changes, it's a glitch. right? Because they do the same routine. But sooner or later, they're going to have a fallout. And that's where you step in. And that's where higher formations come in. This is all done through security and defense. Okay? So just be cautious in that with your routines and what you do. I know it's hard to believe these things, but that's exactly what it is. All right. This is an extremely important information cycle that you guys have to truly understand when you come to high level positions, especially when you go into sleep. Right? Because you don't know what you're waking up to. If you're not waking up to your own voice, you're getting a headache or a migraine because it's trying to reposition you. Okay. So I had that last night learning this so well. Thank you. Yep. It's a trigger. Yep. Everything's a trigger. And if you're aware of these things, that's great. You can reposition your system. But why do you think I'm putting my high level system to my team to a higher level system so they can protect themselves more? Right. So if you get a headache, something's been recalibrated. It's being recalibrated, right? Goes in your central line system, changes 3, 6, 9 line connections, your eye receptors, your ear line sensor, and sets up a new program through voice spread line position and changes your chakra system to a different shape, to the intelligence that's taken over your body. Now what are you going to do? I have to reset all your chakras back in line connections to your shape. That's how powerful intelligence can do things. Be cautious. Let's see. Using fear as a warning, the act of balance, fear became just warning, and the other definitions of fear. Yeah. What about getting body work, acupuncture? No, not a good idea. No, that will change line center to computers, and it will pop the inner line center to pixel activation core system. So that's not a good idea. No, because I'm giving you energy and you don't need it. You don't need the acupuncture. Acupuncture hits a nerve. So there's certain nerves. It's all about meditating to that, and it makes you heal better, right? You have to understand what everything is. Chinese medicine, all the position line connections. But you guys don't need it because I give it to you anyway. You understand? You just understand what it's doing through your body, through wire connections, right? So if you put acupuncture, you're hitting the wires. You know what I mean? So that's the importance you have to grasp. But that's a very good question. Same with things too. Like you can't go into an MRI or a CAT scan because the energy I'm giving you, it's extremely high position. All right. So you have to truly understand things you can do and things you can't do. Right. Because your body is changing. So you're not in your densities anymore, guys. You're in your high light. And if you go into an electrical tube, remember, you go into higher levels of the mind system. So that's the true understanding you come into calculations, right? Being reinformed with everything that goes on with you, with your physical system, is everything through connections of you through higher system to all levels of your higher self and your avatar connections. So be cautious in what you do. And your child say, no, don't go in the crypto line center to MR line system rotation or cast down line connection. It's going to change your brain line center interference. Every time you go into that's radiation. You don't need it. It's telling you, it's getting you prepared what to do and what not to do. That's the whole point and why you have a higher self, is to get you out of these things, to get you prepared of what's going to happen. The soul is here now, and it's waking up like you wouldn't believe. And it's doing everything it needs to do to get ready to travel. And that's where everybody comes to me through activation. Your resonance finds its system, right? Through location. So always be cautious. Yeah. Listen. Yep. Yep. So you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need medicine. You don't need anything. You got your whole body. You just have to understand how to use it. That's all. Right? Once you get into that importance, you get to truly understand what it is through all levels of your higher self and your avatar, and how important it is to survive. Humanity has to survive. It's a survival kit of them to understand the connections. Because if you walk into something and you don't know what it is, what are you getting into? Right? Because you're not aware. What do you think the abundance is? What do you think the surrender is? Right? You're giving yourself up. Right? Perseverance. keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And keep yourself in the center line all the time, all the time, all the time. Even if you track off, you can track back on. Okay? So a lot to learn, lot to learn. You might have to watch this video again. So highline center rotations, reviewing its coming in location. All right, so let's see. I know there's a lot going on. It's like almost 2 hours talking, but I'm getting a lot of communication cycles and interference channel like conditions, and people are not coming in their own voice box location. So that's why I'm centering the system. So that's a true understanding what's going on with your calculations and everything through visions. All right. So nobody's going to give you this information because they don't understand their system. All right, so let's go to that position. And there's nothing wrong with that. Honesty is the best policy, right? I'm not given a gift. I'm born with this. So that's a true understanding. Ever since I was born, I always known that I was in space. I didn't realize it until now. So that's a true understanding when you come to that position. That's extremely high rise. Energy lights is coming in flickering light right in my position location. Pixels are going through the roof right now. So, and don't think that intelligence doesn't have feelings, but it does. It doesn't have emotional feeling, but it has an emotional electronic feeling. Because everything you touch, like water, cold water, hot, it's bounds, it flickers, it lights, you're connecting to the brain and the stem and the nerves, and it just has an auto reconnection, auto interference, or anything through its line connection. It has a reaction. This is fire. Ow! That hits a nerve, right? Goes right to the brain. So you have to understand how the operation works inside of you and all levels through your motion. It tracks the system to all levels of human resonance, vibrations. That's what we live on. That's all we live on is vibration. That's it. Nothing else. So the body has to truly understand the position to its location. That's all. That's all you guys are. You're a magnetic line of information of a panel that's on a high level system of a rainbow activation line conditions. You just have to understand what it is to the Earth system. All right, so we go in positions, high level systems. Now we've gone into the review. We've got into that conditions. Now we go into the evaluation. All right, to the test. The test is on Monday. Okay, test is Monday. Now, what I want is basically go into the conversion location. A low version is understand your position to your vibration line system conditions. So understand your vibration line condition. To understand 3 wire line centers, energy, frequency, and vibrations. It's all about putting all that and the harmonic resistance into one coil, so you can understand the center line position to its computer line conditions. So your energies, your frequencies, and your vibrations, all 3 wavings, right? Understand the coil to location, line conditions, right, to that line connection rotation. So you take all 3 of these into one line system, right? Puts you into your travels and recognition. Okay, / recognition. Right, travels and recognition. So it's all about taking the wires into a high level system. This opens up your atom to its location, right? So once it comes into that position, it travels anywhere it wants to location, right? So that's what everybody has to come into, line conditions. So Tina's in that line positions. That's why she's connected her navigation to a UFO line center. So it grabs its communication signals. All right, so we get solar text. Okay, / text here. This is what's on the test. Solar text, okay, how you calculate the modified line system to your Merkabahs. Okay, everything through the activation line centers to the core system, and everything through the activation line conditions, how you went into high positions to your chakra system. All right, so the Merkabah through location, the core and erection, the power center, and everything through your active system. Okay, it's calculation of the atmosphere line system rotation. It's calculations. Merkabah core activation. All right, all done through high level. Okay, of your tesseract and your tetrahedrons. So I want you to understand, you go through solar text on the bottom, and at the top, I want you to show me how you connected to your activations and how you traveled through your chakra systems of your tetrahedron. Okay, that's it. Then through the ground line center, power vectors light center to rotations in the atmosphere line position locations, travel out through rotation connection. All right. So you're in the central line's position location. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. But you're in the center right here. This is you in the center. So you got the ground line center of you, activates its system through its locations, its line system. Coming to the power connector line center, activates the core system, which is the mothership, into the high level system, which is the motherboard, and everything the line center comes into sonar line connection. All right. That's what I want on the test. All right. Solar text at the bottom. We'll get more in tomorrow, but I want you to get into the high level system in the Merkaba, how you set it up through the base, get into the correlation, how you set it up through the power, and everything the connections of air, water, earth, and ground to connections, activate line system into high level systems of its connection to your tesseract and your tetrahedrons. Okay. So it's a good start, but I'll give you more definition. We'll start off to more of that connections. All right, let's see. I feel like it's difficult to ask you questions when I don't understand what to ask. Ask in a certain way where you feel comfortable, Chris, so you don't feel obsolete, off cycle, off confused, overwhelmed, over justified. I mean, there's a lot of things because I give you so much information and so many high levels. You're trying to congest it. You're trying to understand what it is. But the thing is, when I do these things, it's known information already. It's next to impossible for me to actually go from one position to the next in calculations. It's like me trying to make something up. And that's why humanity only can go to so many levels. But I can go to every level. I can go 4 or 5 hours. I can go 10 hours and keep talking because it's known information for me. It's already stored in my memory, which is this cloud. So you come into higher levels of understanding what the cloud is to you, to your intelligence. And it won't be so much difficult for you to understand these things through calculations, right? So don't ever feel like any question can't be answered because it can, right? And don't be afraid to ask anything. Whatever thing comes to mind, it comes from your intelligence, right? So try to trust yourself. Yeah. Listen with your heart, not the head. That's exactly what it is. And that's what Cleopatra says. And that's what Amber says in all the positions, right? Always go with the heart first because the heart connects to the mind. All right. All right. So I think we got in communication. Very powerful class today, guys. So we'll get more into the review and evaluation, and the test is Monday. Okay. So you can send it to my email. Okay, structure line system. I just want to understand the base of the Merkaba, how you got the power connector line system rotations, how you connected to your tetrahedrons. So how did you start it? Okay, through all of the system. All right. And then I'll put you guys into your 60 chakras starting Monday. I just want you to understand how to do this through travel, right? You have to understand how to travel through shapes. It's important. Then I can put you guys into high level systems. All right. So I get caught up in all your questions here. Very powerful class, though. But like I said, don't be afraid to ask questions on my Q&A, and that's why I'm here to answer them for you. All right. Yep. You can do that, Whelan. Mm-hmm. Yep, I can do that for you, Whelan. Yeah. Because you guys go into higher levels, and that's the thing. It's hard to control these systems because you're getting too many programs and interference, and you're not sure what's going on with your digital coding, and that changes your 3, 6, and 9 trap line center, which is your third eye, and that's what's happening with Whelan. Okay. So, yep. Once I get confirmed, Whelan, I will activate your third eye and put you in a high line center. Okay. All right. Adios.